Whoa, just freaking oh whoa. Yesterday, subscriber reached to me and showed his measure assembly setup, and at first I thought it's like meme, something like that, but when I tested out it was kinda ridiculous. I made slight adjustments. I'm using capacitor instead of his blue screen exotic LMG, and I switched heartbreaker piece and some healing for Murakami and Walker Harris to receive more DPS out of this build, and capacitor is simply sweet cherry on top of the cake, which will bring us over the finish line. This bad boy will hit extremely hard because with each skill tier it will give you 7.5% additional weapon damage and you will gain 60% additional skill damage. But the beauty of the assembly set is that you will take out instantly robotics like mini tanks, dogs, shit like that. Even healing stations will be instantly taken out. And guys, this is by far the fastest way how you can overcharge your build. By using chest piece, you can overcharge pretty much every 20-25 seconds. Ridiculous. If you will use it with your healing hive, nothing and nobody will be able to kill you. Ridiculous amount of charges. Your assault turret will do a shit ton of damage. For mods, you should use protection from elite mods to add an additional layer to your survivability. And as your minor attributes, you have option. You could go for repair skill or repair power, or you could go more traditional way and simply use skill damage on your assembly set. How do you pronounce it correctly? Assembly? I'm tripping here, but if you need help, guys, I can recommend you dealing the net. Maybe you don't have time for grind or you don't have teammates, then these guys can help you all. And right now they have some crazy sales going on, and also they are offering for you exotic item just for 5 euros. I think it's more than enough price just to understand how the service works, like demo version, I guess, of the site. And also you don't need to give any passwords, nothing like that. These guys will play with you together and will give you item you are looking for. So absolutely simple and safe way how to get your wanted item. But now let's get back to this setup, which is kind of crazy. Like I said, yesterday, subscriber reached to me and showcased his assembly setup, and I thought that I can make some adjustments and make it even stronger. In his version, he is using blue screen exotic LMG and he's replacing my Walker Harris holster with Heartbreaker just to get LMG damage, but honestly I think Petro's constructor gloves will be the better fit if you want to use this setup with LMG like Heartbreaker, because you're gaining LMG damage and damage to armor as well. Simply find one with skill damage, find gloves with skill damage, and reroll weapon damage for skill tier. For specialization, we're gonna stick with gunner specialization to get armor back on the kill and increased rate of fire. Although technically you could go with technician specialization and simply reroll one skill tier for additional weapon damage, and also you would get skill damage or reaper power. So definitely you have two ways how you can set this build, and I think most likely I will switch here for technician specialization. Gunner specialization is nice, but I think for skill builds and hybrid builds the technician specialization is the way to go, and because it will give us that freedom to gain a little bit more damage out of this build. And after couple tests here and there, I think I also will take out Walker and Harris holster. Murakami mask I will leave it because it will give us a lot of goodies since we're using Ninja backpack. Murakami is giving us increased skill duration and of course repair power. Reaper power will heal us a lot, and skill duration will make our turret last pretty much forever. The same story with our hive. Hive will just be destroyed when charges will be empty. With 0 charges, hive will self-destruct. For chest piece, I am using assembly chest piece, which will give us insane cooldown for overcharge. We are capping out our skill power. We are at skill power 6, tier 6, excuse me. And once we're gonna proc this chest piece, we will get next overcharge in 20 seconds. Just to understand how crazy this is, overcharge by itself usually lasts like 10-15 seconds. So it means you can get a ridiculous amount of overcharges, or pretty much you can always be overcharged unless you are not working or with this set properly. If you know how to proc overcharge by using hives, by triggering it with enemies, by using allies / your skills, which in this case will be counted as allies, then you should have no issues whatsoever to proc overcharge. But guys, keep in mind, by throwing your hive somewhere near robotics like mini tanks, dogs, you will instantly one tap those enemies. It's kinda insane, especially on legendary difficulty. Maybe for heroic missions and easier content this is not that important, but sometimes when shit is hitting the fan, that skill alone can take everything upside down and make you as favorite in that battle you are fighting in. I mean, if you will use technician specialization, you will have also disrupt grenades, which can stop any shenanigans like healing stations, drones, yada yada yada. So that's the reason, like I said, why I'm thinking to switch for technician specialization instead of gunner specialization. It's nice, but I think we can gain more utility out of technician specialization. Like I said, we can get additional 50% weapon damage. We can get increased repair power. Armor and kill is not needed really here because healing hive is healing us quite a bit. Holster, Walken and Harris holster is giving us 5% weapon damage and damage to armor. Kinda nice, but I strongly am considering to switch this holster for Picarus named holster from Arquebus set, which will give us skill haste, additional skill tier because we are using ninja backpack, and as minor attribute it has 10% weapon damage. So somewhere in our build we can use one more offensive core attribute, so that holster alone will cap out our skill power and can give us 25% additional weapon damage. Walking Harris will give us like 5% weapon damage and 5% damage to armor. Nice, but I think 25% weapon damage sounds really nice, and on top of that you will get a little bit of additional skill haste. So not a bad trade-off. So most likely I would switch those two things. I would switch for technician specialization and replace my Walken Harris holster for Picarus named holster, and then I should reroll some assembly pieces from skill tier to weapon damage. At least 2 pieces now I could reroll for additional weapon damage, or with weapon damage core attribute if I will use technician specialization and Picarus holster. Bye.